Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is me, Lex here, and honestly, y'all, I just want to give a huge thank you to y'all for rocking with me all the time. At the time of posting this, y'all should know by now, I tried to do a live stream yesterday, and girl, it went horribly. I think part of what happened is I tried to do the stream on this computer, and it's my desktop. I have like a Mac laptop, but I also have like the Mac desktop, and that doesn't have like a built-in speak. Well, okay, it does have a built-in speaker. It's really weird. So, anyways, I was trying to listen to the video out of my AirPods, and I think that for some reason it just really messed with the audio, and you guys couldn't hear it. But we gonna fix that, and I'm probably going to try to do the live stream. At the time of posting this, I should have already announced when I'll do the new live stream. This time I'll be streaming from my laptop because I don't have all those problems streaming from the laptop. So that should be good there. Other than that, thank you guys so much for rocking with me. Most of you guys are here from Love is Blind. I will say that I kind of want to put a close to Love is Blind, okay? We'll probably do the live this week and still watch the couple of interviews that I wanted to watch. But then after that, I really want to be done with Love is Blind. There's so many other TV shows, media. I have done a post on my community tab, kind of laying out some of the other shows and media that I plan to cover for like probably about the next month to month and a half before obviously Perfect Match, Married at First Sight, just other different shows, maybe The Ultimatum, come back out again. So I would please love it if you would check that out and see kind of what's to come on the channel. I have so many goals for this channel. I literally plan to work on this YouTube channel full time, the job I got full time, the other job I got full time. I'm gonna be just doing all of these things full time, and I'm really excited about it because I am so passionate about this channel. I'm so happy the way it's grown. Anyways, we are gonna get back into 90 Day Fiancé. Now, I did last season reviews, but I kind of started in the middle of the season, so that's not it. But we are starting with the new season of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After. There is a lot of couples on this show. We didn't even see all of the couples. I'll probably have a picture up here on the screen of all the couples that are projected to appear this season. However, on this episode, we only saw Kobe and Emily. If you remember, they are he is Cameroonian. He came to the US. Emily was pregnant. I believe they got pregnant on a vacation. So they were on a couple of seasons ago. I don't think we've seen them for a while. They are back. We have Sophie and Rob from last season of 90 Day Fiancé. We know them. Then we also saw Mahmood and Nicole. They are another couple that was just a mess. Remember, Nicole's like this white lady from LA. She tried to move to Egypt, had a horrible time. We have that one like notorious scene of her in that bathing suit that covered her from head to toe, and she was just miserable. So they are back. Manuel and Ashley from previous season of 90 Day Fiancé. And then Jasmine and Gino. So those are the couples that we saw this episode. However, Angela and Michael are also projected to be on the season. And I believe a couple of other couples. So like I said, I'm going to have a little photo here so y'all can see who's going to be on the season. But let's just jump right into this episode, girl. I feel like we started off steaming. I feel like we started off hot. So we start off, first part of the episode, we're seeing Kobe and Emily. They are still living in her parents' basement. From last season, they were living in the parents' basement because Emily doesn't have a job. Emily got pregnant and literally has not worked since, which to me, one of the things I've never understood about this show is that you are bringing over a whole person that you need to sponsor, and your family is essentially paying to sponsor him. Because with Emily particularly, like this girl did not work because she got pregnant and she didn't work since. And so her family were really the ones paying to sponsor Kobe and bring him over here. Now, Kobe seems like a very nice guy. I really like Kobe. He seems very, very chill, very warm. He seems to have a very genuine personality. So very excited to hear that. So they do have one son, Coben, that she was pregnant with. That's when we met her. She was pregnant with Coben. And now they actually also do have another daughter, Scarlett. So Emily is complaining already that her parents are always in her business. They're there 24/7 because they live in the basement. It's like, yeah, girl, get you a place then. Get you a place then. So Kobe does have his green card now and a job. So I'm hoping for these two sake they move out of the family's house, okay? Move out of your parents' basement, girl. Like you're like 30 years old. Like, come on. I'm not saying anything's wrong with living in your family. Oh my goodness. I'm not saying anything's wrong with living with your family at 30 years old, but girl, you are married with two kids and you're living in your parents' basement. Come on. Come on. Um, so their big plot line this season is that they're going to Cameroon to meet Kobe's family. They have never met Kobe's family, so that's going to be very interesting. Emily's very worried because, well, both Emily and Kobe are pretty concerned. Emily's more worried because she's never met his family. She's never been to Cameroon. It's a very different culture. And Emily is a quote, boss lady. They say she has a type A personality, but in either event, she's definitely traditional, different than the traditional Cameroonian woman. And so Colby is like, look, like it's gonna be fine, but you're gonna have to kind of tone it down with my family because again, you're not the typical Cameroonian woman. And I do always think it's interesting with these kinds of relationship dynamics, kind of how there is such a contrast and a difference. And Kobe doesn't seem like he cares. Like he seems to be very much attracted to Emily and like her. I think that as a couple, these two seem okay. I think more of the issue I have is like, what the heck is going on with Emily? Like, girl, you is grown and your mommy and daddy is paying for everything. So that was also very weird. So they're sitting at the dinner table and the family is concerned about their safety because they're going to Cameroon and they're English or white Americans. So they were very kind of concerned about whether it would be safe or not. And Kobe's like, girl, like y'all are gonna be fine. Like you're gonna be with my family. You're gonna be around people, and that is, I will say, that is a very real thing. Like even for other like Black Americans or anybody, there are definitely some places in Africa, some African countries that you can't just be traveling to off the willy nilly. I mean, I have plenty of Nigerian, Cameroonians that I've grown up with in my life, and yeah, you definitely can't go to some of those areas without having a tour guide or without having someone from the area, family from the area. You just can't walk up into those places because it is a very different experience. So they were talking about it, but Kobe is reassuring them like, look, y'all gonna be fine. Like y'all gonna be with me and my family. There's never gonna be a point where you guys are gonna like go away. And so, you know, for Emily, this is her first time meeting her in-laws. In the 2 years that they've been married, she's never met his parents in person, I guess. Well, obviously, because they've never been to Cameroon yet. And then also, this will be Kobe's parents' first time meeting their grandchildren, because they have two kids now. So, I mean, with this couple, everything went really, really fast. It's always interesting to me to have so many life milestones, but I've never even like really met all members of the family meeting. But that is, I mean, very common of like having a relationship where some people live in a different state or a different country. Very common. So that is the main thing there. With these two. So that's their trip. You know, they're going to be going to Cameroon, and I do think it's going to be interesting. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm interested to see how Emily, who's from like a farm town in I think they're from Kansas City, if I'm not mistaken, is going to fare in Cameroon. I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So we see Sophie and Rob, and baby, we got bombshells. Remember, the tell-all was last week. And as of the tell-all with Sophie and Rob, we heard that they were going to be moving together. They moved to Austin. They have a place now. They're good. At least that's what we thought as of the tell-all. We learned today that Sophie and Rob are not living together. Sophie is actually living in Austin with her best friend Kay, apparently someone that she just met, and now they're moving in together. Sophie says basically the first year of marriage for them has been going very poorly. They've been fighting a lot, and it's gotten to the point where literally Sophie has moved out. And they haven't even seen each other in 2 months, okay? Like, let alone live together, they haven't even seen each other. So these two are on really bad terms, we learn, which is not a surprise. I don't know why these two got married. Between the cheating, between the way they talk to each other, between their life goals. It just never seemed like this couple had anything in common with one another. So I'm just not really sure why they got married. I think for Sophie, it's like, girl, like, just go back to the UK or do whatever you want. I'm just saying, like, you don't have to be here. I feel like your life in Austin isn't even better than your life probably was back at home. Like, it's not like the UK is like a really shitty place to live, right? So for me, I'm like, don't get it. So Sophie also reveals that basically she had done like a factory reset on Rob's phone, and apparently she found out that there was way more girls involved in the cheating scandal than she originally thought. So if you remember from last season, it is revealed that Rob was basically talking to girls online that were reaching out to him. He was letting them send inappropriate pictures and replying and asking them for more pictures. And originally, I think Sophie thought it was like, I guess, one girl or a couple of girls. But apparently, she states at one point in the episode that it was over 50 women, which is crazy. Again, why are you with him? Why are you with him? If this man has no self-control, then why are you with him? You know, I don't care if you're long distance, or whatever. I mean, me, I'm not doing long distance relationships because I don't trust men long distance. I've been in a long distance relationship and it was horrible and the relationship ended badly. You know, so me, long distance ain't for me. But at the end of the day, I don't care. If you're in a committed relationship, it shouldn't matter if your partner is 10 minutes away, same house as you, or a country away. You owe them loyalty. And I know some people also get into like the semantics of what is really cheating, like what constitutes cheating. And I'm not going to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't think is cheating. But for Sophie, she clearly found that him talking to these multiple women was not for her. Like, she wasn't with it. So, in my opinion, then it's not worth it. And I'm sorry, but if someone cheats, I feel like they typically cheat again. And the reality is if there were so many women and he even lied about the women, he didn't even exactly tell you how many, you're still finding out new information. What makes you think he's trustworthy? I don't get these two. This couple makes me irrationally mad because I'm like, why in the world are these two together? Like, why is this 24-year-old girl moving from the UK to marry this 33, 34-year-old man? It's just weird. It's just weird. Don't like it. Don't like them at all. Don't like this couple. All right, so we go on to Mahmood and Nicole. So basically we learn with Mahmood and Nicole that she is back in the US after trying to live in Egypt again. In her previous season, she tried to move to Egypt, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, and had a horrible time. She had to be covered up all the time. And this girl really had a tough time with having to like cover her body. And it's like, it's just so weird to me because I'm like, girl, you're like 40. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, I'm like, first off, you know what kind of country Egypt is. So why are you trying to live there? Why are you moving there? Why are you assuming that if it didn't work the first time, that it's magically going to work a second time? Some of the people on this show, I'm like, what are we doing? But second of all, it's like, girl, like, is it really that hard to wear clothing that covers your body? And I say this as somebody who wears crop tops. I say this as somebody who wears some things. But I'm like, it's not that serious. It's never been that serious. But anyways, she is back in the US now, and Mahmood is actually going to be moving to the US to be with her. I guess she filed for his green card or the K1, I don't know. And he's gonna be in the US. Hey. So she basically says that, you know, they've been doing this long distance kind of stuff back and forth, trying to make it work with her living in Egypt. But at this point, they're just ready. She's just ready for him to get to the US, which is crazy. I'm already seeing trouble in paradise with these two. So we go to Manuel and Ashley. We just saw them last season. And Manuel, they have a little conversation about how Manuel still hasn't really learned much English. Now, I get it. They live in Florida, baby. You could definitely get away with speaking only Spanish. And I mean, this country has a lot of Spanish speakers. I do think it's interesting that Manuel hasn't learned like any phrases at all. I think it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I think for me, it's interesting whenever you have a partner who speaks a different language or has a partner, or you have a partner who has a family that speaks a different language. My fiance, his family speaks Spanish. So, like, for me, I know some phrases and things like that. And I think that just no one's saying you gotta be fluent in a language, but I think it definitely is important to be able to learn a few phrases to have like a baseline communication with one another if you don't have like a common language that you guys both speak. So thought that was interesting that Manuel still hasn't really learned like any English, so they talk about it. So they meet up with Ashley's family, her mom, her sisters, the crew. Ashley's crew. And they're still concerned about how Ashley didn't really know about the kids and doesn't know the kids and basically felt like the kids were hidden. Um, and they do think it's very weird that they are married and she has never met the kids in person yet. But Manuel does talk about how in Ecuador there is a lot going on, and that's actually true. There is a lot going on in Ecuador with just different violence and things as such. It's not necessarily the safest to go there right now. But Manuel is talking about that, but it does seem a little odd. I felt the same way with Annalie from last season, where I get it. I definitely understand being in like Hispanic or a Latino family or, whatever. I'm Black, I'm from the Caribbean. Like, I think, I'm pretty sure a lot of people from African countries can relate. Like, it can be weird to tell your family about certain things, especially if it's not necessarily exactly what they'll approve of, or not necessarily exactly who they're looking for or what they're looking for. It can also be so much questioning, so much bombardment. But I think at the end of the day, if y'all are married, why are you not telling people that you're getting married? At this point, Manuel and Ashley are together, and if they're sending money back home to his family, and the mom is also providing money to send back to the family, I definitely believe that there needs to be some kind of interaction and meeting of all of these people. I do think that Ashley is owed that. And I don't get how people on this show have kids and their partner doesn't even know the kids. Like, that's weird to me, to get full on married with someone and you don't even know a big part of them, which is their kids. I don't know. To me, that's like bizarre. Like, I can't even fathom or imagine being in a life like that or a relationship like that. But that's just me. I do think it's interesting because it is revealed that Ashley, she is a spin instructor. We see her doing a spin class, but she also, I guess, is a practicing witch. And so she says she does astrology, tarot, and I'm just curious, like, how successful her business is. Look, I'm all for Black women doing their thing. I am actually into tarot and astrology myself, so it's not that I'm shading that at all, but I am curious how much money that is making, considering the fact that Ashley's mom often has to step in and give money. And it seems that Manuel is not really able to work right now. I think that's another reason, right, why Manuel should maybe be learning a little bit of English as well, right, to at least be able to pick up a job somewhere, a baseline, something. So that's my opinion on them. I do think this couple, I have high hopes for Manuel and Ashley, okay? I really do. I like them. I think that they look great together. I think they have good chemistry. I think it's amazing that Ashley knows Spanish and she's like, seems pretty fluent in Spanish and she can really communicate with him and his family. But I think there are definitely some things that seem a little iffy with Manuel, and I'm worried, okay? I'm worried, okay? I don't want my girl to get hurt. So we pop on back to Sophie and her mom, Claire, and then we also meet Claire's boyfriend, John. So apparently Sophie's mom lives in Mexico. This was revealed last season, but her boyfriend, John, is actually from Austin, Texas. I have questions. I understand why Sophie's the way she is, because when I look at her mom, I'm like, I have questions. I'm curious how she met this man. Why is she living in Mexico? I really have a lot of questions regarding all of this. But anyways, the three of them are talking, and Sophie is meeting this man for the first time, by the way, her mom's boyfriend. So her mom makes a little joke where she says she cannot understand John when he talks. I guess it's because of his accents. I guess he's from Austin. I was like, girl, what? Like, y'all British, like what? I feel like it's harder to understand British people than it is to understand most Americans. And he didn't have like a very southern accent. I don't know. I thought that was funny though. So, the mom is talking about Rob and talking about how he is not a great guy. She doesn't like him. She calls him Rob the Knob, and John is like, Rob the Knob? Like, what does that mean? I don't know. John looks strange. I mean, maybe he was just uncomfortable to be on camera, but it didn't even seem like these two had chemistry. I'm wondering if it was Claire's first time meeting John. If we being honest, like, girl, you had your little boo thing online, and you knocked two birds out with one stone. You visited Sophie and you visited John, because I ain't see it. It seemed like he didn't even know her. But anyway, so the mom, Claire, she still doesn't like Rob. She does say that when she originally met him, he was very nice, like the very first time. But outside of that, she didn't like it. Obviously, the mom is still upset that she brought Sophie here. Or Rob brought Sophie here in that awful apartment. He's cheated. He just doesn't really seem ready to be in a partnership. And I agree. I don't like Rob. I don't think Rob is a good partner. I also think Sophie has her own set of problems. I also think her mom has her own set of problems. Again, these three are another group of people that I have a lot of questions about, okay? I want to know more about the background because I'm just confused. But, Sophie does admit that she is thinking about meeting up with Rob soon because it's been 2 months since they've seen each other. They both live in Austin, apparently, but it's been 2 months since they've seen each other. And they just are upset. And so I also forgot to mention in the first part that Rob is very concerned about Kay, the friend that Sophie's living with, because Sophie admitted that she is bisexual. And so Rob and his friend are, like, Rob is basically implying to his friend, like, I don't know if she's, like, sleeping with Kay. I know she doesn't respect our marriage. I think she's more than a friend. And I'm like, I hate this because I think that for people who admit they're bisexual, there's always this, like, very... I don't want to say homophobic, although I do think Rob had a very interesting response to her admitting that she was bisexual. It did come off a little bit suspect. I ain't gonna hold you. But I think that a lot of people have this very weird anti-bi response that when someone says they're bi, you assume that every girl that comes their way or every person of the same sex that they are that comes their way is someone they're attracted to. And I think just like anybody else, if you're bisexual, you're not going to find every man, every woman, every person attractive, right? You're still going to have standards. You're still going to have preferences. So I always think it's very weird. I love that, but I mean, Rob doesn't give me someone who's very conscious of things. So that was interesting. So that's where we leave off with those two. Sophie is planning to meet up with Rob. The two of them are planning to meet up. Going back to Mahmood and Nicole, going back to Emily and Kobe, they are packing to go to Cameroon at this point of the episode. Emily's very, very worried, and Kobe's just trying to comfort her and be like, look, like, you're a good mom, like, no one's gonna dislike you. It's not like, they're gonna hate you or something. So just don't worry, just be respectful. But again, he does continuously mention that in Cameroon, women are received differently than they are received here in the US. And again, I think that Kobe is very fine with who Emily is. I think obviously it's hard to go into a different culture and uproot and build a culture shift. And I think these more patriarchal societies, that is just the way that it is. So for me, I always think it's interesting on this show, like, what does the partner who's not used to that stuff do? But I think ultimately, of course, it should be the best and be right for Emily to respect his family in whatever way that would mean for the trip. So literally so at this point they also go to the airport, and why they had like 20 bags. Her dad makes a joke and is like, wow, you're moving out the US, huh? They literally had like 20 bags just scattered around the floor. I thought it was so funny. I was like, damn, I understand you have two of you and two kids. So I do understand that's a lot of bags, but I mean, they were acting like you can't find anything in Cameroon. So they fly off and they're on the way to Cameroon. So Jasmine and Gino. So they're on a yacht. I'm just kidding. Jasmine was having trouble pronouncing the word yacht, which for the record, I think is kind of a hard word to pronounce, even if like English is your first language. But she was trying to pronounce yacht, but she was saying it like jocked. And Gino was like, a what? And she's like, a jocked, a jocked. And he's like, huh? And she was like, yeah, a jocked. And he's like, oh, yacht. So Jasmine and Gino are basically, well, let me say Jasmine more so than Gino is full steam ahead on making a baby. Jasmine makes a joke, hey, we can make a baby right here, right now on this yacht, okay? She is ready to go. And she also is, now that her and Gino are married, she's also really, really missing her kids. And the conversation is really coming up of Jasmine bringing her kids over to the States because she does have 2 kids back in Panama. So that's really like a big topic for them right now. Gino, I think, obviously understands where she comes from, but Jasmine does say in one of her confessionals, like, her kids are her heart. She really misses them. But if she can't bring them here, she's not going to stay married. And my question is, why would you get married in the first place if you were unsure if you'd be able to bring your kids? I mean, I think obviously it's a much easier route, but as we learn, Gino is not even like working, right now. Like, Gino literally apparently gave up his job to support Jasmine in the States. Question mark. So I'm just curious about that. So Jasmine does say she has not seen her kids in 4 months since she moved to America, which, okay, much shorter than I thought. For some reason, I thought it had literally been over a year or more. But nonetheless, 4 months to just be away from your mom, and her kids are fairly young, I think is definitely a long time. So hopefully they can definitely start working on a plan to get the kids to the States. Though, I will say this, as usual, I have a lot of apprehension about young kids moving into a random home with a random man. Again, Jasmine marrying Gino, I think, is very iffy. And I do worry, with her just bringing her kids over instantly into a new environment, into a new home with a random man they don't know. Is Gino prepared for that? I don't love that. I don't love that. It's the same issue I had on Married at First Sight with Jessica having a child and being in the experiment. I just think that kids do not need to be around random people, particularly random men. Sorry, but that's really dangerous in my opinion, and I am worried for that, but that is Jasmine and Gino's kind of thing. So, Rob and Sophie. Rob now is driving to the mall. I guess he and Sophie are like meeting at the mall. And he says basically, if it's anything other than her saying she's coming home, it might be the end of their relationship. So he's just like, I'm not doing anything else but expecting her to come home. Sophie is worried that she's left it for too long, that it's been so many months now that it's beyond repair. And to me, yeah, that's crazy. Like, to not talk to your whole ass husband or wife in 2 months because y'all got into a fight, break up. Break up. Break up. Like, why are we here? Why are we doing this? Break up. So going on, Mahmood and Nicole. Okay, so Mahmood and Nicole is going to pick up Mahmood, and she's wearing like this outfit. It's like a pencil skirt with like a crop top. A little sliver of stomach is showing, and it's showing a lot of leg. And she goes, this is not gonna be approved for Mahmood, but he's gonna have to deal with it. I think he's gonna love it that in the States I have more freedom, I can do more things. And I'm like, why are these two together? In what world are these two gonna come to a consensus? Mahmoud is is an Egyptian man who's very traditional, which for the record, a lot of people came out and said during Mahmoud's season that his family seems to be part of like a more like a more radical form of like Islam or whatever kind of like sect his family is from in Egypt. Apparently they're a lot more radical than most Egyptians. Most Egyptians are not like Mahmoud and his family, especially like younger folks usually do not have this kind of strenuous expectation of women to be covered head to toe. But it does not matter, right? Because if that's what Mahmood believes, I'm not saying he's right. But it's like, why is Nicole so pressed to change the man? I don't think Mahmood should be trying to change Nicole, and I don't think Nicole should be trying to change Mahmood. I think these two should not be together. In what world is it gonna work out? And I'm just wondering why. Why are you filing for a K-1 visa for this man? Like, girl, what are we doing? And then you're sitting here saying, he's gonna have to deal with it. When, girl, you know he doesn't approve of that. And he's wrong. Like, I'm not gonna say he's wrong or he's right, because it's his culture. In the same way she's allowed her culture, he's allowed his culture. And that's what I feel on this show. Obviously, as an intersectional feminist, I do believe in liberation of women. But at the end of the day, I also wouldn't be with a man who is a traditional man that expects me to be covered from head to toe. So, excuse me, I don't understand what is wrong with these two. Anyway, this video is actually getting really long. I'm surprised. Okay, I got a lot for y'all. So, Jasmine and Gino, they are on their honeymoon and they're camping. They go into the campground and Jasmine's like, we're on our honeymoon. And the people there are like, oh, wow, you are the first to come camping. Gino. It's crazy to me that Jasmine is in love with Gino. Girl, love can prevail anywhere because Jasmine is genuinely in love with this man. Because he don't got money. He's not hot. He's not buying her all kind of things. Like, she is literally in love with this man. And you know what? Kudos to Jasmine, okay? Get your man, sis. Get your man. So they go camping. They're sitting down. He wants to go camping to save money since they spent too much money on the honeymoon. And this is when we move into the conversation about them. They're roasting marshmallows and they're having a conversation about the US. So Jasmine does admit, hey, I like the US. I like it here, but I would really like to bring my kids here. Like, I really want them to be here. And because of that, I also want to get a bigger house. She says, because I want to have room for our kids, which, okay, our kids. Gino's never met those kids, right? From what I understand, but okay, they're kids. And the baby that we're trying for. And it's crazy to me that these two are trying for a baby. Like, that is crazy to me, but, you know, more power to them. And Gino's like, but the house we have now is good. Like, we have plenty of space. You know, you want to get this bigger house and we're not even at this point yet. And it's like, these two just never see eye to eye on anything. I'm not sure the size of Gino's house. Obviously, if you are bringing over the kids and you want to have another baby, I mean, 3 kids already, that's like 3 rooms you need, right? Probably at least 2 rooms. And then plus a room for them. I don't know about this whole thing. It's interesting to me. Is Jasmine pregnant in the current day? Actually, don't spoil it for me and tell me if y'all know. But I'm just wondering how this went with the baby. So, yeah, Gino admits, and Jasmine also admits, though, that the reason why she doesn't want to live in that house is because his ex-wife lived there with him for 7 years. And I think that's the real reason Jasmine doesn't want to be in that house, because she has this thing about the ex-wife being there. That was her house, and then she moved out. And I ain't gonna hold you. When I got out of my previous relationship and we had a shared apartment, and I tried to get out immediately. I tried to move as fast as I possibly could. I was in the process of moving because I was like, it does not matter that he has moved out. It does feel tainted. But I think for Jasmine, that's a little bit different because she never, like, if anyone should be feeling tainted, I think it should be Gino, right? Because he lived there with her. But yeah, Gino admits that he does not have a job and they are currently living off his savings, aka his savings plus the 90-day fiance check. But I guess we're not breaking the fourth wall. But yeah, Gino has no job because apparently he got rid of his job when Jasmine got here to support her. I just think the way their relationship is so codependent, it's like, you literally let your whole job go to support her. I just think it's crazy, and I wonder how they're planning to bring Jasmine's kids over and have a baby on savings and 90-day fiance checks, which are not that high. Apparently, they make $1,000 per episode, which is not actually a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. But we end off with Rob and Sophie. They meet up, and the first thing Rob notices, he goes, oh wow, you got them a little perked up, talking about her, you know what. That's what he notices first. So they sit down and, well, they're in this selfie place, so they're like taking selfies throughout it, and then they finally sit down in one of the rooms and they start talking, and Sophie notices that he took off his wedding ring, and Rob's like, I just don't want to look stupid out here, and it's like, I'm like, because I guess Sophie thought she lost her wedding ring, but Rob says, oh no, it's at home. So these two play too much. I'm not going to get into it again. But anyways, they start getting into this other argument where Rob starts talking about how he doesn't really know Kay. He doesn't really know the people that Sophie hangs out with. Sophie says she doesn't really know like a lot about Rob's friends. They get into this back and forth about how they don't know each other's friends. And I'm like, what? Like, what even is this conversation? But they touch back on the whole thing about what was found in the phone. And Sophie's like, look, I found over 50 women in your phone and you take no accountability. Rob's like, you know, I didn't talk to them. Like, girls just reached out to me, but I didn't think I had to tell you every time a girl interacts with me. And I'm like, don't be together. Like, you're clearly not ready for a marriage. You're clearly not ready for a marriage. And for the record, I don't think either one of those two is ready for a marriage. Not just Rob, Sophie as well. Neither one of y'all is ready for a marriage, so don't be in it. Like, there's not even anything more to say. Sophie's like, nothing's changed in 2.5 months since we've been together. Yeah, my British accent is shit. But that's it. These two are not doing well. So that's it. That's all we saw here in episode 1. As I said, there are a couple of other couples that we will see in further episodes. But that's basically all that happened in episode 1. Does look like it's going to be a good season. I have a feeling a couple of these couples, aka Sophie and Rob, I'm probably going to be fast forwarding through them. But that is all, guys, for episode 1. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, by the way, if you got to this point of the video. It supports my channel, it supports my content, and it inspires me to keep making this content for you guys. Thank you, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!